Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. Today's video is a collaboration with some other amazing secular homeschool mamas, and we're all going to be sharing about our summer plans. In this collaboration, I know there are a couple of new ladies, new to YouTube, not necessarily new to homeschooling. I have learned so much from them, from their short time on YouTube, and found a few amazing resources from them for sure. So definitely make sure you check out that list. If you have been watching my updates, you know that we plan on taking 2.5 months off this summer. I mention this because my summer plans look very different from last year when I made the summer plans video. In that video, I chose to do a few different projects that being home made it possible to do. This year, I'm taking a different tactic, and we're definitely focusing on reading a ton of books and doing a lot of adventures outside, as well as playing games. So that's on our summer agenda. And I have a huge number of books I want to share with you that are perfect for the summer season. I will be taking our computer with us this summer. And I mention that because we will continue doing our watercolor course that I mentioned in the last update I did. And that is with Lily and Thistle. And we've been liking it so far, and I don't see that changing by the end of the month. If it does, then we wouldn't continue, but thus far we're really enjoying it. I love that it starts with a lot of basics, and you go online and there's many different online videos that you can go and learn how to watercolor. So both Vivian and I are doing that, and I plan on taking that with us this summer. We'll also be continuing with our math apps and our reading apps. So on the computer, we're using Nessie.com for reading. And I'm also using Adapted Mind on the computer for math. And thus far, we're liking that. In terms of on my daughter's tablet, we now have Dragon Box and Monster Math. For games, and also to continue with the math, we will be using Right Start Math Games Kit. I'll put a picture here. It hasn't arrived yet, but that is what we will be taking for math. I also will be taking our wrap-ups. We'll also be taking a musical multiplication, and I have these on my computer, so we'll start listening to those this summer as well. And this is from The Good and the Beautiful. And in terms of games, I haven't decided which ones to take with us yet. So definitely taking a couple of board games, but I'm not sure which ones. We will not be doing a ton of curriculum this summer. Definitely want to take a break for that. I will show you what we are taking though. I wanted to do this time traveler, the Usborne time traveler. And if you saw my Harry Potter video where I was comparing curriculum, you know this was on the list for the Waldorf Ways Harry Potter curriculum. I did that comparison because I was deciding what we are using for our upcoming school year because it will be Harry Potter themed. And I decided I didn't want to do this in the upcoming school year, but it looks like so much fun. And I wanted to do it before my daughter was too old, that she didn't have any interest. So I thought I'd take that for the summer. It's a little bit light and fun, still educational though. Now for language arts, I am taking a couple of things. This is a daily word letters by Scholastic. And I know I've mentioned these in my updates for sure. I started at the very beginning with this, so we're doing grades 1 to 2. So next I'm going to go into grade 2 to 3 and so on. So we will continue doing this over the summer. I'm also going to take gentle grammar. She's only doing 1 page a day. I'll continue to do that over the summer as well. Now what I did was I went through our shelves and I was putting in as many items as I could that we've never got to that I always wanted to, or that I had bought in the last year. If you've been watching my book hauls over the last year, you'll know I brought in quite a few books this year, so I want to get to some of them. And I think the summer is a great time to do that. This is The Adventures of Mally and Keela, a virtues book for children. And I never seem to get this in, so I thought we'd try it this summer. Also, I have these core knowledge books. So this one is what your 2nd grader needs to know, and this is what your 3rd grader needs to know. And I will be getting what your 4th grader needs to know this summer. But the reason I decided to take them is because there's lots of stories and fables in here and things that will be enjoyable to read. And I kept dabbling at it here and there, but not with any consistency. And it would be a shame to miss some of these amazing stories and the resources in here. So I thought we'll go through that over the summer. Yeah, we'll just get through as many as we can. Now, I have only bought one book specifically to take with us this summer. The rest are off my shelf, like I said, that we haven't had a chance to look at, or that I haven't had a chance to look at or utilize. And this is two of the Wild and Free books. Now, this one I bought quite a few months ago now, sometime in the winter. This is the book club, 28 activities to make books come alive. And I want to have a look at that. I didn't have a chance before this video. I know there's some books that are on our list for the summer that are in this book. So I'll definitely be seeing if there's anything in there that we can use. Now, this is for book clubs specifically, but I'm sure there's activities Vivian and I can do through the summer, but I'll definitely be taking that and having a look at it. Also, I did get this from Book Outlet recently, and this is 25 outdoor adventures for kids to explore, discover, and awaken their curiosity. I thought this would be a great time to have a look at that. I haven't had a chance, so I'll definitely have a chance this summer. I also wanted to dive into this one. This is Wild Things. This is a Lonely Planet book, and it's over 100 magical outdoor adventures. And Vivian received this for Easter, and it looks amazing. Again, another book that we can look at the first week or two that we're there and see what's in it for us, if there's anything magical we want to do for the summer. Now, I posted this on Instagram, and the authors made a comment and said that they had a new book that came out, and it's this, Make This Book Wild. And so both of them are written by Joe Schofield and Fiona Danks. And this one is illustrated by Anna Ivner. And it looks amazing. I'm really glad they commented on my video because I ordered it right away. Look at this. Now, I'll leave a link to their Instagram down below, and you can see some of the creations that people have done. What I saw on their Instagram is you use resources from outside in nature to create some of these beautiful pictures, like sticks, leaves, moss. I'm trying to find a good example here. That would be one. Look. Anyway, they're all different kind of activities. Yes. You can fill in the dragon and decorate it with resources from outside. It just looked like the perfect magical outside adventure. As I've mentioned, we are doing Anne of Green Gables, so this is what we're starting this month. And this is the book guide from Hearth Magic. And if you've been watching my updates, you know I've been going on about these a ton because I love these book guides by Hearth Magic. And this is the Anne of Green Gables edition that we're using. And we are starting this month, and we will continue on with it this summer. We are going to Prince Edward Island for the summer, so we'll definitely be going to the museum for Anne of Green Gables. As I've mentioned in, well, a couple of videos, but the most recent that I can think of is I did the video about all the curriculum that I love. And in that video, I spoke about the Charlotte Mason inspired Simple Studies, and I absolutely love them. What I decided to do was take 3 of those that I have this summer. I ordered the books that I didn't have. This is one of them. I didn't have Among the Night People. And I ordered that to go along with Simple Studies, Night Creature. So this is a little curriculum. Now, these usually go throughout a year, throughout a school year. If that's something you wanted to do, they definitely stretch it out. They're lovely and amazing. I just think by the time I get to this and have time to do this, if I don't do it this summer, Vivian might not be interested in this type of story. I don't want to take the chance. So I'm going to do them this summer. And if we want to do it again later and stretch it out, we will. But I'm definitely making sure we do it this summer. The other one I have from Simple Studies is the Meadow Creatures. And the spine for this study is Among the Meadow People. And this is by Clara Dillingham Pearson. This is by the same author as well. And the third study I have from Simple Studies is the Seashore Animals. And this is based on the Thornton Burgess bird book. Oh my goodness, we love that one. This is the Burgess Seashore book for children. So we'll be doing that this summer. And this is one I will spread out over the summer. To go along with that theme, I thought we would read this book that I had picked, The Animals of Farthingwood. And this is by Colin Dan. And these animals decide to move because of all the development that's coming into their area. So it's about their trek to find a safe place to live. I picked up these two books. I really wanted to check these out. These are the Tales from the Odyssey, and this is the author Mary Pope Osborne. She wrote the Magic Treehouse books, which we really enjoyed. So this is Tales from the Odyssey Book 1 and Book 2, and I'm definitely going to start the first one this summer and see how we like it. And I just want to note, I'm about to show a lot of books, and I'm definitely taking them with us this summer. I have to go through the list and decide which ones we'll do an audiobook and which ones I will take. But there's a huge number of books here, and I'm going to look at it like a feast this summer. We are going to mood read all summer. Now, I think it would be a miracle to read all these books. I don't have that intention, but they're really exciting titles that are very much focused around the summer theme, and a lot of them take place in the summer, so that was purposeful on my part. And I just want you to know that, no, I'm not in denial. I know we can't read all these this summer, but I definitely want to provide that feast for us to choose the books we want and to not give it any concern over the summer. Just read a lot of good books. So we'll read as many as we can. We'll see how many we do. Maybe if you guys are interested, I can do a video at the end of the summer of all the books that we read during the summer. The first group of books are about kids or a group of children experiencing some adventure in the summertime, be that in the city or at a cottage or on an island or with pirates. That was kind of what I was going for. And I really wanted to take the opportunity to read some classics as well as some modern day books and to mix that up. And the first book is, how could I resist? Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Now, we read Pages & Co., as I mentioned in one of my updates, and absolutely loved it. If you're not familiar with Pages & Co., it's a series, but the first book includes wanderers, like book wanderers, and they can go into books or characters can come out of the book. I mention that because Treasure Island was one of the books the kids ended up wandering into, and I have never read it. So I've wanted to read it with Vivian ever since. And I think since we're going on an island, we're going to be surrounded by sea and at the sea every day, I just thought it was perfect timing. So this is the first book we're going to read. And this is a book I picked up from a thrift shop and really liked it because it had illustrations, and I love illustrated books. I also thought we could read Island of the Blue Dolphins. This is about a young girl that is stranded on an island, and she lives there for, I think, 13 or 18 years. This is by Scott Odell. This is one of the books where there's multiple children, and I absolutely love this series. Now, we read this a couple years ago, but I thought it would be fun to read it again. And the audiobook for this is fantastic. We both really love the narrator. And this is The Four-Story Mistake by Elizabeth Enright. And these kids, brothers and sisters, they used to live in New York. Now they've moved out to the country. And it's about the four-story mistake and their adventure discovering this new house and something they find in the attic. It's just really cute. I'm going to go through the list of books now that I have some coming from the library to check out to see if I like them, and also some coming from Amazon that I've ordered. The first book is The Season of Sticks Malone, and this is by Kekla Magoon. And this was recommended by somebody in a Facebook group, and I asked for recommendations. And this is about Caleb Franklin. I'm looking at Goodreads right now, if you're wondering. And his big brother, and they're excited to have adventures in the woods. And they dream of adventuring, on a bigger scale. And Sticks ends up moving next door, and he challenges them to do a bunch of things. And although Sticks has a secret, so he's trying to help them make money, but things are getting a bit sticky, I guess. The second book is, I'm pointing to the picture I'm about to insert. The second book is Swallows and Amazons by Arthur Ransom. I'll put a picture here. Now this I have coming from the library because there are 12 books in this series, and I want to have a look at the first one to see if we like it before I order this particular book. The reason that I am excited by the possibility of this book is because this is about a group of kids, and I really love the interactions when you have a group of siblings or neighbors and like a crew of kids, and they go and spend some time on an island. So I guess they're given permission to go live on the island for the summer. And this is an older series, and I'm surprised I'd never heard of it before, but it sounds like it has huge potential. if you've read it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And next, I've ordered Gone Away Lake, also by Elizabeth Enright. This is about Portia, who goes to visit her cousin Julia, and they discover this swamp that has these faded old rundown kind of houses. It turns out this used to be a resort on a lake, and they discover an older couple there, or an older person there, and they end up having an adventure and learning about this place in the summer. I've wanted to read this book for quite a while, so I'm excited and hope we get the opportunity to do so this summer. Next, I am also going to be reading The Penderwicks at Point Muette. This is the third book in the Penderwick series. And in this particular book, Rosalind ends up going to Maine by herself, and the other kids go with their aunt to a cottage for the summer. And Jeffrey, who we met in book number 1, joins them at this cottage as well. And, it's another fun summer full of antics by the remaining kids. And yes, we'll probably listen to that one on the drive over to Prince Edward Island. I love the narrator for that series as well. Okay, another book is called Otherwise Known as Sheila the Great by Judy Blume. This was recommended to somebody, and I guess this is about a young girl who suffers from anxiety, and it's kind of what she does to deal with that anxiety. And I just thought it sounds like fun. It's a bit different than anything else I have on the agenda. So I wanted to give it a try. I haven't read any Judy Blume. I was going to stay with Vivian, but I don't think I personally ever read any Judy Blume. Also, I got a recommendation for Time of Wonder by Robert McCloskey. This is a little book, and it's described as very poetic and beautiful, and I thought I would give it a try. And the other book that I'm going to insert a picture for is Nim's Island. And we actually saw the movie for Nim's Island, but it's been a while, so I still wanted to read the book. And this is about a little girl whose dad goes missing, and she sets out to find him and has a lot of adventures along the way. Sorry, there's one more book that I'm going to insert a picture for that I'd love to explore this summer. This is Lani of the Distant Sea, and this is about a little girl who makes a wish and thinks she's responsible for causing a lot of bad things to happen on the island. So she decides that she's going to go out and save her family. She's trying to reach this island that everybody else that has reached has disappeared. But, she has a big heart, and she's determined to make up for the wish that caused so much trouble on the island, or so she thinks, where her family and neighbors are. So she's out to solve that. And it just looked like a really interesting read. And hopefully that's one we get a chance to read this summer as well. Here's another book that involves a group of children. Now, this is the second book. I don't know why we have books 2 to 6. I must have bought them at a thrift shop, and it's missing the first book, which is called The Secret Island. And I have that on hold right now from the library to see if we like it. And if we do, then I'll order it and put it with this one. But the reason I thought of it for this summer is because they're having adventures in the summertime. This one in particular, they're on holiday at the sea, and they discover a secret passage that leads to the old house on a cliff, where they find a kidnapped young prince is being held captive. So they make a plan to help the prince escape. And in the first one, they're also on a lake. The first book of the series, they're on a lake as well. And again, I love the theme of groups of kids doing adventures over the summer. I have a few in here. So this is another one. This book is by E.L. Konigsberg. I have a set of these books. This is one I've had up on our shelf to read for about 6 months now, because I thought Vivian would really enjoy it and hadn't read it. So definitely going to make this one happen this summer. And it's a smaller read, so it shouldn't be any problem. This is about Elizabeth, who's an only child. She's new in town. She's shorter than everybody else. She's very lonely. And then she meets Jennifer. Well, Jennifer is different. She's Red Macbeth. She never wears jeans or shorts. She never says please or thank you. And she says she is a witch. It's not easy always being friends with a witch, but it isn't boring. At first an apprentice and a journeyman witch, Elizabeth learns to eat raw eggs and how to cast small spells. And she and Jennifer collaborate on cooking up an ointment that will enable them to fly. That's when a marvelous toad, Hilary Ezra, enters their lives. And that's when trouble starts to brew. A Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly. And this is about a 12-year-old girl who was born deaf. She's really lonely, and she hears about Blue 55, which is a whale who sings a song that the other whales can't hear. So she really relates to this, and she goes off to try to find the whale and to hope the whale to feel less lonely. This one is Inside Out and Back Again by Thana Lay. This is about a little girl who's 10 years old. Her name is Ha, and she's moved from Vietnam because of a war. Her and her family end up moving to Alabama. She's really lonely, and this is a moving story. It says of one girl's year of change, dreams, grief, and healing as she journeys from one country to another, from one life to the next. And this is told in verse. I've discovered over the last year, well, I discovered books in verse period, and I really like them. So I'd love to read this one soon. This is Daughter of the Mountains by Lewis Rankin. And this is about a little girl who gets a dog. She always wanted a Lhasa Terrier. It's a dog like the ones the Buddhist priests hold sacred in their temples. And when a trader brings Pempa to her parents' tea house, her dream has come true. But it turns out that somebody steals the dog, and she is determined to go find and rescue her dog. But to do that, she has to go through the great trade route across the mountains. So she's going from Tibet to Calcutta. And this is a route that I guess is very dangerous. Even for seasoned travelers, they don't want to take that path. But she's determined to find her dog. I've been dying to read this book. This is by Renee Watson. And this is Some Places More Than Others. And this is about Amara, who wants to go visit her father's family in New York. She gets the opportunity to go visit in a summer, and she goes to Harlem, and it turns out that it's not anything that she had expected, and her dad is always working, and also he's really angry with his father. We studied Harlem Renaissance for Black History this year, and I thought it was a great tie-in, and of course it has the summer, so instead of going to the country, we're going to the city. Anyway, I thought that was a fun twist. And we have The Evolution of Calpurnia Tate by Jacqueline Kelly. I'm not sure, this might have been on our list last year. Anyway, we didn't get to read it. Vivian was not very interested. But if you have been watching my updates, you know that we've been loving the Calpurnia Tate Vet Girl chapter books. So I think now, after reading those, it might be a great lead-in to this particular book for the summer. This is a trilogy by Rita Williams Garcia. We've already read the first book, which was One Crazy Summer. And I want to read the second book, which is PS B11. I've ordered it, and we'll be reading that over the summer. Now, I'll take this with us just in case, but we have so many books here that I'm okay if we do the second one, and then later we'll do the third. It's nice to break up the series, I've discovered. My daughter loves fantasy, so do I, and we've been trying since Christmas to read one fantasy book a month, but I thought it would be fun to take a bunch of fantasy books this summer. I think it's the Tales of Magic series. Now we have the second book. We read the first book and it was a lot of fun. And this is a group of siblings. In the first book, they ended up finding a magic coin. They find something magic in every book and they get to go on all kinds of adventures. In this particular one, they go back to the time of Peter Pan. Oh no, sorry. In this book, they go back to the time of Robin Hood and Ivanhoe in A Knightly Realm. And then Magic by the Lake. They end up going to a magic lake, and everything in the lake is magic. All the animals talk. They're mermaids. Yeah, this is a fun series. This is a book I picked up in my last thrift haul. This is Haroun and the Sea of Stories by Salman Rushdie. In this book, it's an Eastern landscape peopled by magicians and talking animals. Haroun and the Sea of Stories is a tale of a 12-year-old boy and his adventure to restore his father's gift of storytelling by reviving the poison sea of stories. That sounds really magical. I also have 3 books in this series, but this is the first one. And this is by Lauren Miracle, and it's called Wishing Day. It's interesting because the reviews on Goodreads are very mixed about this book, but I definitely want to try it. And on the 3rd night of the 3rd month after her 13th birthday, every girl in the town of Willow Hill makes 3 wishes. The first wish is an impossible wish. The second is a wish she can make come true herself. And the third is the deepest wish of her secret heart. So Natasha, who's the oldest child, makes a wish. And she makes 3 wishes. What unfolds is beyond anything she could have imagined. This is one I picked up thrifting as well. It seemed like a lot of fun. And this is by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. It is called Peter and the Starcatchers. In this book, an orphan boy named Peter and his mysterious new friend Molly overcome bands of pirates and thieves in their quest to keep a fantastical secret safe in the world from evil. Apparently, this is a book that happens before Barrie's Peter Pan that we're all familiar with. Anyway, I couldn't resist that. And again, it's happening on the sea. Oh, did it have pictures? Nope, no pictures. All right, the Very Nearly Honorable League of Pirates. Magic marks the spot. This is by Carolyn Carlson, and this is about Hilary Westfield, who's always dreamed of being a pirate. She can tread water for 35 minutes and tie a knot faster than a fleet of sailors. And she's in school for delicate ladies and wants nothing to do with it. So to escape her life of petticoats and politeness, she answers an advertisement for a pirate crew. And she finds herself swept up in a seafaring adventure, and they're looking for treasures. And I really love that the main character was a female, and she was on a pirate ship. I hope Vivian likes this as much as I think she will. This is The Ever After, and in this book, the little girl, her name is May, she gets pulled under the water by like a mare person, a mermaid, and she ends up coming out of the water, and she's in a magical forest, and nothing is the same. She's trying to get back home. Then we have The Adventures of Letty Peppercorn, and this is by Sam Gayton, illustrated by Polly Bernatine. And this is about a little girl who's abandoned by her mother. Her mother disappears, but she leaves her a note and tells her not to leave the house, not to step on the ground, that things are dangerous, and that she loves her. She'll try to get back to her. And I guess this house is on stilts. And at some point, somebody comes to sell her something. It's like a traveling salesman. And she discovers that he knows where her mother is. So she's off to save and rescue her mother. And I looked on Goodreads, and there's really not a lot of reviews on this book, but I like the sound of it. And it's broken up into 3 parts distinctly. Like the third part had a table of contents. Oh, and there's illustrations. I just mentioned that because I found that quite odd, that they had a table of contents during part 1, part 2, and part 3. I'd never seen that in a book. Anyway, I'll let you know how that goes if we get a chance to read it. I have 3 more books to share with you, and I have to say they are just because they are magical and fantastical, and I've been wanting to read them for a while. And Vivian, I think, will both love them. They're not necessarily fitting under the whole water theme or summer theme. This one is called The Uncommoners, The Crooked Sixpence by Jennifer Bell. So this has 2 main characters, Ivy Sparrow and her older brother Seb, and the underguards show up, officers brandishing toilet brushes. So the 2 of them go tumbling into a world that is anything but ordinary, obviously, if they're brandishing toilet brushes. And they end up getting sent to London-Door, a secret underground city where magical things happen and they are capable of extraordinary things. And the Darage ends up causing a lot of trouble and kidnapping their parents. And the 2 kids are out to save their parents. And it's always amazing in middle grade what they can do in terms of saving many adults. Anyway, I've heard great things about this, and we have books like 1 to 3. Really excited to finally get a chance to read it. I hope we do. And I think it's time to read the second Pages & Co. book. As I mentioned earlier on in this video, we absolutely loved the first one. It was called The Book Wanderers, and this one is called The Lost Fairy Tales. This is by Anna James, and in this second book, they are visiting fairy tales and still trying to find Enoch, who was a bad person in the first book. There are some illustrations. Yeah, absolutely loved the first book. And I've been just trying to get through some other books because I think we wanted to read like right through all the books. It's definitely one of our top favorite middle grades this year. Absolutely. And the last book I want to try out is The Wizards of Once, Twice Magic. And this is by Cressida Cowell. And in this particular book, you meet a wizard and a warrior who have been taught their entire lives to be basically mortal enemies. But the wizard boy, Czar, and the warrior girl, Wish, were brought together in the Bad Woods. And now they share a terrifying truth. Witches are on the hunt once more, and danger lurks around every tree trunk. So it's up to them basically to save the world. And they have to work together to do that. And I've heard amazing things about this series, so I'm really excited to read this one. Okay, that is a huge amount of books, but I hope you discovered a title in there that you might want to read and add to your reading list for the summer. I'd love to know what you guys are reading and planning to read for the summer. Please leave it down in the comments below. If you think of another title that you think we might want to add to our feast of books for the summer, I'd be really grateful. If you left it in the comments below, please don't forget to check out the playlist down below and see what everybody else has planned for the summer. If you like this video, please hit like. If you'd like to see more like it, please hit subscribe, and I will see you soon with another video.